Our series on Oldisleben Farming is one of the most popular on our YouTube channel. After not visiting the team for a couple of years, in this video we find out what they've been up to. We've been back to their site several times this year. Oldisleben is a village that sits 45 kilometers to the northeast of Erfurt in Thuringia. Oldisleben Farming currently manages around 3,500 hectares of conventional arable land, as well as an additional 150 hectares of organic grassland under a subsidiary. 2024 ended up being both a blessing and a curse for the business. A wet and cold spring delayed the development of the winter seeds, but the comparably mild summer was perfect for their maize crop. If you've been following the series on Oldisleben Farming on our YouTube channel, then you can certainly imagine that the last 3 years have not been easy for Managing Director Markus Herrche and his team, and they have had to reorganize their fleet in many areas. Among other things, they formed a good partnership with machinery dealer Deppe Stücke after procuring several agricultural machines from them in 2023 and 2024. With an arable farm of this size, the standard tractors must be incredibly versatile, and so are often slightly more powerful than usual. The new 36-meter plant protection sprayer or the trailed fertilizer spreader don't need a lot of horsepower to be moved, but the tractors are put to even greater use for other tasks over the course of the year. In April, the crop yields are given a boost with a targeted and needs-based application of fertilizer and plant protection products. The Amazon trailed spreader is a really high-tech bit of kit. A wind sensor is used to analyze the direction and speed of the wind, and this information is then incorporated into the spreading pattern. The spreading pattern is monitored using radar sensors to ensure an optimal distribution of fertilizer. With the two ZGTS trailed spreaders, the team is able to cover over 500 hectares per day. The maize sowing also happens in April. The business invested in a Vedostat Tempo L to take care of this. This seed drill cost over 300,000 euros. For this price, it certainly needs to do a good job. In 2024, the Tempo managed to sow a total of 2,000 hectares of maize, canola and sunflowers on the Oldisleben farming fields and those belonging to several affiliated companies. The teams also tried out direct sowing to plant a few hectares of canola and maize. The results look promising. An 8R E-Auto Power, a demo tractor, is used here. The special thing about the 8R is its continuously variable transmission that has been supplemented with an electric motor to replace some hydraulic components. The 8R 410 is the most powerful standard tractor in the manufacturer's program at the moment. When it comes to trying out new agricultural machines in practice, Clemens Herrche is the man to ask. The son of the managing director, Clemens completed his agricultural training this year and has been firmly integrated into the company. Here, maize is being sown on one of Oldisleben Farming's most fertile fields. This is mostly due to the fact that it lies along the banks of the Unstrut stream. The fields are flat and large. Fields like this are worked intensively in order to generate the best possible yields. Around a third of Oldisleben Farming's fields, however, are in less fertile areas, or along the Schmucke hill ridge. For a few years now, the focus here has been on using minimum tillage to save water and reduce erosion. In some cases, direct sowing using the strip till method has been integrated into their sowing techniques. Maize is also sown here at the beginning of May. they have an 8-metre seed drill from Claydon, and this Missouri to take care of the strip tillage. On hilly terrains, the 6-metre machine consumes a lot of power and needs more than just a standard tractor to be towed. Depending on the setting, the loosening tines can reach depths of over 20 centimetres in the soil. The initial dose of mineral fertiliser is placed as close to the seeds as possible. The soil between the rows remains untouched. This helps to keep moisture in the soil and prevents erosion caused by heavy rainfall and wind. In addition, strip tillage usually saves at least one work step. The Kelly harrow is the universal tool for tillage. In summer, 80 to 90% of the time it is used for stubble cultivation. In spring, the chain harrow is only used in a targeted way for problem solving. The canola sown the previous year that was unable to grow properly due to drought was treated beforehand with a total herbicide. Now let's jump forward to summer. It's the end of July. 400 hectares of winter barley have already been threshed, and the team is making good headway with the 400 hectares of canola and 1,500 hectares of wheat. It's no surprise really, as they've invested in some powerful machinery with the 2 new John Deere X9s. Clemens is really happy with the large 700 horsepower combines. The X9 easily takes care of the 2024 grain harvest. The wheat straw is harvested from the fertile fields. Around 6,000 bales of straw are needed each year for the livestock farming side of the business, which we will be looking at in more detail later on. The bale accumulator from Canadian manufacturer Anderson has been a part of the fleet for several years now. Lucas collects 14 square bales at great speed and brings them to the collection point. With this technique, around 600 bales can be collected from the fields each day, and the land can then be thoroughly cleared for the subsequent stubble cultivation. The Kelly harrow moves pretty quickly too. The business farms a few massive fields just above Reinsdorf. These parcels cover over 55 hectares, and driver Matthias gets to enjoy the stunning views for free. Oldisleben Farming has 12 permanent employees that take care of the management side of things, the arable farming and the livestock. Matthias can spot his 8R from quite a distance, thanks to the radiator mascot. Alongside the 3 8Rs and the Challenger tracked tractor that we've already shown you, their fleet also features a versatile Delta track and a John Deere 6R, as well as several other smaller and older tractors. The combines have now moved to a wheat field on the outskirts of Heldrummen. Usually the team works with 2 grain wagons, as the combines can harvest up to 80 tons of crops per hour. The square baler is also right on the heels of the combines. Here an agricultural contractor has come to support the straw harvest with a 6R and a driver. Most of the time, Oldisleben Farming has enough machines to take care of everything themselves, but they do call in contracting services during peak times or with the sugar beet harvest. Due to the varying soil conditions, the wheat yields vary significantly, and for the 2024 harvest they were between 6 and 9 tons per hectare. The team also uses a man vehicle to transport away the grains. There are 2 of these 400 horsepower X65 all-wheel tractors still in use here in Oldisleben. In this particular case, the grain store is just a few hundred meters away. Like the canola and sunflowers, the wheat is stored here and is then gradually sold off under contracts. For the 2024 grain harvest, they barely needed to use dryers to dry out the harvested crops. They are still on the lookout for a more effective solution for drying, particularly for the grain maize harvest. A professional farmer by education, Marcus Hercher is managing director and owner of Oldisleben Farming. During the stressful harvesting days, he often brings the workers lunch. In the evening, a demo machine from the agricultural machinery dealers comes along to support the 2 X9s. The T-Series combine is a little too small for Oldisleben Farming, but the seller and demo driver were in the area, so it has come along to join the team for the last couple of hours of harvesting. The 2 X9s have each covered 1,400 hectares during this year's harvest. In 2025, Oldisleben Farming plans on growing grain maize too, which will add a total of around 500 hectares of land to thresh in autumn. We couldn't have asked for a better end to this day of harvesting. The beautiful golden light from the setting sun is the perfect backdrop for shooting these fantastic combines. We've linked all our other videos on Oldisleben Farming for you in the description. It's mid-September and we're back in Oldisleben. It's time to bring in the silage maize. But it's also the first day at work for the Kroner Big X 1180, which has just left the factory. A powerful machine that should bring in the maize silage in record time, but that can also work in affiliated companies and chop grass there. Once again, we're heading to the outskirts of Heldrungen, which is famous for its moated castle from the 12th century. The Big X should harvest around 700 hectares of maize in autumn 2024. It has a 12-cylinder Liebherr engine with 1,112 horsepower under the bonnet. Some of the silage maize is sold to a biogas plant, and the rest is used as a high-energy staple feed for the animals raised by Oldisleben Farming. Over the past few years, the old dairy barn was converted for cattle fattening. The roughly 1,000 animals have straw bedding. A modern manure removal system will soon be put into operation, and a bedding system is in the pipeline. Fleckvieh and Belgian blue cattle arrive on the farm as calves, are raised for between 18 and 20 months, and are then sold once they reach a weight of 650 kilograms. Clemens also drives the forage harvester. Over time he's become familiar with all the machines that they use. The lift cabin comes in really handy, and not just when chopping. They try to take care of the logistics with their own vehicles as far as possible. They've even brought out another of their man machines here. Lars has the X65. It is equipped with the 16-gear transmission from ZF. The vehicles were developed and manufactured between 1994 and 2006 at MAN in Munich. Once the silo maize is chopped, it's time for the grain maize harvest and the sugar beet lifting. But we'll be looking at this in a bit more detail in the next videos in the series. Thanks for watching, and remember to subscribe to our channel to make sure that you don't miss out on any updates. And if you're interested, we've added Oldisleben Farming's contact details in the video description for you.